Hi guys, right, this week we're going to be writing a persuasive letter, and we're going to write the letter from the point of view of Earth. We're going to be Earth, Gaia, which is another name for Earth. I'm going to write about pollution. Now, in order to be persuasive in this letter, we're going to use logical conjunctions, we're going to use time ordering conjunctions, we're going to use emotive language, and we're going to use convincing language in order to win our argument. Right, but before we can write our letter, of course, we need to know what we're talking about. So we're going to research, and then we're going to research, and then when we've done that, we're going to research some more. Okay, so we're going to need to read up on the topic of pollution to really understand the issues so that we can form a really strong argument. Okay, now you stand a better chance of winning an argument or convincing somebody that you are right if you really know your facts. Okay, so we're going to arm ourselves with lots of facts and lots of data in order to win the argument. Problem is though, pollution is just such a big topic. So where on earth do we start? There's so much to find out and so much to learn. Okay, fortunately for us, we've already got the reading resource that we've uploaded onto the school website. So read that, there's loads of good information in there. Okay, so you can use that as a really good solid starting point. However, once we've done that, we're going to move on. And we're going to use the internet to find out lots more information. And we're going to use this website here, Ecosia, which the school have started using as an alternative to Google. Okay, and we've done that because for every search that goes through their server, they plant a tree. And to date, they've got almost 97 million hits. That's massive. Okay, so they've planted that many trees, which is fantastic. We can see in the top corner here that I have accounted for 213 of those. It's not brilliant, but it is a start. Now, here's a search that I made. So looking at this website here, National Geographic, and I've chosen that because it just has so many good, well-written pages. Okay, so it's really good standard of information. Okay, so try and use that in your searches. And I've looked for specifically air pollution, but this is where it's going to be up to you as to what you find out. Okay, so it could be air pollution, it could equally be plastic pollution, it could be deforestation, it could be recycling, or it could be carbon emissions. It's entirely up to you. But whatever you do and whatever you find out, have a pen and paper ready because you must make notes. Okay, so we don't want to forget those real gems of information. Right, but before you even get onto that, I'm going to give you a little bit of legitimate YouTube time. We all like a bit of time on YouTube, don't we? Now, I want you to look for this particular video here. Okay, so it's Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall. He's a guy who's normally on TV talking about food and farming and stuff. But last year he went to Malaysia and he did a really short but very, very powerful documentary on plastic pollution. Okay, and believe it or not, guys, all that plastic you see there in Malaysia came from the UK. Okay, so my class looked at this video last year and we found it really, really powerful and it really inspired some fantastic writing. So please go and have a look at that. But again, remember, make notes. Really, really important. Okay, so when you've done your research, that's magnificent. So we can all drop our pen and stroll out the room. But we can't. Of course we can't. Because now we need to do our planning. The key to any piece of writing, guys, is, as we know, as we've done lots and lots in class, is our planning. It's vital. So we're going to start to look at how I want you to plan it. So I'm going to model doing the plan. And then we'll take it on and I'll model using that plan to form a really strong paragraph. Okay, so to help us with our plan, I've already uploaded, I'm sure you've already looked at the written model, which again I've color-coded, which shows you how I've matched it up to my color-coded model plan. Okay, so I'm sure you know how they work and you can see how I've constructed my piece of writing. Okay, but what we're going to do next, we're going to look at the blank plan. Okay, there it is. Okay, so the next part of the clip is going to take you through, one, how I have built my plan, but then it's going to go on and explain how I then take that plan to turn it into a strong piece of writing. Okay, so we come on to the planning part of the lesson. Now, I'm really going to focus on the second, third and fourth paragraphs here because they follow the same structure. Okay, now I'm just going to leave that there for you for a moment. So if you want to pause and have a look how I've planned out my first paragraph, then please do so. Okay, it's pretty self-explanatory. But to be fair, you guys know how to set out that introduction to the letter as to what, who, where and when. Okay, but for the next three paragraphs it follows the same structure, so I'm just going to model one and then you guys can crack on and do your own. Okay, so it says introduce my first issue. Okay, it's a good idea to open up my strongest issue first. Okay, so choose an idea from the research you've done. Okay, so hopefully you'll all have different ideas to put into your letter. Right, so I did my research, I watched my video, but also I went on to this website, which is National Geographic. And to be fair, my first issue really leapt out straight away. And it actually came along in the heading of this page, which is why it's an effective heading, I guess. A whopping massive 91% of plastic isn't recycled. That's amazing. Right, so that is my first point. Now, watch very carefully here. So I'm just going to write my plan. I'm not going to write the whole thing. This is just my notes to help me when I come to write. Most plastic is not recycled. Okay, now note here, I haven't put in the 91% yet because I want to save that for my data part of the plan. Okay? Right, so my point is most plastic is not recycled. Now my rhetorical question there might be something like, do you really want to pollute the oceans with your plastic waste? Remember, put it onto them. It's their problem. Okay? Do you really want to pollute the oceans with your plastic waste? Of course the answer is going to be no. Okay? Because we need to change this issue. Okay? We need a rhetorical question to make them agree with us. Okay? Now, in order to back up my first point, okay, my second thing I'm really going to say is going to include the data, which backs up this idea up here. Okay, so very handily, I've already got my first bit of data there, and again, it's at 91%. Okay, 91% not recycled. Okay, now I also found out when I was reading through some more data to really help me with this, and it's this bit here. Read that for a second. So since we started making plastic 6 decades ago, we've used 8.3 billion metric tons. That's how much we've made. But of that, 6.3 billion tons has simply become waste. It's not been recycled. So it's gone into our landfill areas and it's gone into our seas and oceans. Okay? So I'm going to add that bit of detail. Okay? Of the 8.3 billion tons, 6.3 billion tons is simply waste. It's not been recycled, it's out there, it's in our seas and our oceans, and it's doing damage. Okay. Now this consequence, okay, that is to say what's going to happen if we don't change this. Okay, so there's my concerns that we expect our readers to do something about. If they don't, what is going to happen? Okay, so I'm just going to scroll up here. Look at that picture, that's incredible. Okay, and this really is the consequence. Plastic takes more than 400 years to degrade. That means to rot down and disappear altogether. Okay, for example, if you throw out a bit of paper or a bit of cardboard and it blows away in the wind, it will degrade in probably a few weeks, few months, depending on the weather. Okay, and it will disappear into nothing. But plastic, 400 years. Okay, So that means it's going to be around us for all that time. Okay, to put that into context, guys, 400 years ago, James I was King of England. Okay, so we're talking very shortly after the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. America hasn't yet been founded 400 years ago. Okay, so that's the time span we're dealing with. So 400 years to degrade. It'll be with humans for centuries. Okay, so our children, our grandchildren, their children and grandchildren will all have to deal with this plastic that we've produced. Okay, that's a major concern. Okay, so that's how I want you to go about planning your paragraphs to really hammer home our points to prove that we are right. Okay, so in a moment we're going to move on and I'm going to demonstrate how I want you to take this bit of planning and turn it into a really good, strong paragraph. Okay, right, now we've done our planning, it's time to move on to the actual writing part of the activity. Now, I'm just going to model one paragraph, just like I did with the plan, because once I've done that, you'll really get to grips with how it needs to be done. Okay, so I've got my plan here, so I need to keep that in sight when I'm writing, but also I'm reminding myself those success criteria from right back at the beginning of the clip. Okay, so I want to make sure that I'm as successful as possible. Okay, so my first thing that I need to do, and I'll try and remember to change the font colour as I do it, is this bit. So introduce my first issue, which in this case is plastic recycling. Now I don't need to go overboard on this. It's going to be a nice short, sharp sentence. So I might say something like, my first and most pressing concern, you have urgent concern, it's up to you, is that of plastic waste. Okay, full stop, job done. Okay, I've introduced my issue in a very simple and straightforward kind of a way. Okay, right, next thing I need to do, other than changing font colour of course, is go on to explain my major point with this. Okay, that most plastic is not recycled. Okay, here we go. So I might say something like, it is a worrying fact, it's not an opinion, it's fact, that most plastic is not recycled, and as a result, okay, because I want to think about these conjunctions here, logical conjunction, so as a result of this action, it ends up in landfill, or another conjunction there, in my seas and oceans. Okay, remember we are Earth and we're writing to humans. Okay, right, so that's that bit done. Now I need to go on to my rhetorical question, which is kind of straightforward because we've kind of already done it, but for the purpose of this clip I just want to add a little bit to that rhetorical question. Okay, I'm going to rephrase it a little bit. Okay, right, so I'm just going to add about the creatures within the oceans on this one. So, oh, let's change that colour. There we go. Do you really want the creatures and wildlife who call my oceans home? So I've got a relative clause there as well. To become endangered by your careless attitude. Again, lay it back on the reader. It's their careless attitude that's causing all this. Okay, and it is careless. Okay, now remember I've just asked a question there, Mr. Davis. There we go, put a question mark in. Okay, so I've just developed that idea of that initial rhetorical question. Right, next thing is the data, and this could be quite a meaty part of the piece here. Okay, so currently, again, it's that time idea here, so it's happening now, it's current. Currently, I can get into my data, which is about the 91% not being recycled. Currently, 91% of plastic is not recycled. Incredibly, so quite emotive there. Since you cleverly, so we want to butter up our reader all of a sudden, make them feel really clever. Since you cleverly created this wonder material, and it is a clever material, do so much with it, you have produced 8.3 billion tons of it. Now, again, I want to put it back on the reader here, okay? Make it difficult for them to disagree, okay? So surely, again, it's using that kind of convincing language. Surely, you understand that simply throwing 6.3 billion tons of plastic away is damaging for our environments. Okay, important to use that word there. Okay, so it's our environment. We both have to share it. Okay. $2.3 billion tons there, a little correction there. Okay, right, okay, last bit I need to do is my consequence. Okay, so again, change my font colour into red. Are we in red? No, it's in purple. In red, please. Right, okay, so I want to explain this 400 years. Now, again, I'm going to appeal to their intelligence. We don't want to make our reader feel stupid. I want to butter them up, make them feel like they're clever, but they're doing something wrong at the same time. I'm sure you were aware that plastic takes over 400 years to degrade, and that if this issue is not rectified soon, again given a time frame, soon, then children in half a millennium, that's 1,000 years, so I'm using a little bit of hyperbole there. Okay, then children in half a millennium from now will be left to clear up your mess. Okay, so think about when your mums and dads have complained about clearing up your mess. This is planet Earth saying that in several hundred years' time, other people will be clearing up our mess. I'm not entirely sure that's fair, is it? Right, so there we go. I'm happy with that. Obviously, I might need to do a little bit of a proofread at the end to perhaps improve it a little bit. But I'm kind of happy that I've followed the plan pretty closely. And I've also referenced where I've hit my success criteria as well. Okay, right, so have a go. And again, when you're done, guys, if you could send it into the admin email address at school, that'd be fantastic. I do really enjoy seeing these bits of work. I've seen some fantastic writing so far. So please keep it coming. Good luck and enjoy researching and genning yourself up on pollution. Hopefully see you soon. Bye-bye.